Welcome to Bagare, and in this video I'll be coding out a Tic Tac Toe game using Angular. So here I'll be running through a short demonstration on how the end result of the game will look like. So here we'll have two players, player X and player O. Then a player can hover on which block they want to place their move. Say player X starts playing, and player O will then try to play again. Player X, player O will try, and player X and player O, and it will display that player O has won the game. So that's just how the game is. And please guys, as you watch me code along, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Let's get at it. Alright, let's get at it. So now since we'll be building this in Angular, let me just walk through what I've just prepared for this project. So all I've done for this game at the moment is just having the background of this application. So what I did is set the padding to 0, the box sizing to border box, and then that background, right? So what I will do is then create a components folder, right, so that I can have my game component. The reason being is that I don't like to write code on my app components.html, right? But you can choose. So I've got my router outlet there, right? And then in this folder I'll then cd into components, right? And then just create a component called game. So this component will be called game. Okay, that's finished, right? And then so what we'll have then is we'll want to go to our router outlet and then just create a single route with the path and empty path, right? And then have components which will then point to our game component, right? So now that's done and all set it up. Let's just run this project and see what we have at the moment. So we'll just go to this ngserve and wait for it to run. Alright, so our project is running. Now we can just see what we have there, right? So now we can see that this game component is there. Now it says game works. So now let's now go back there and just build our front end for the game, right? So what I would like to do is have a game container, right? So this is just gonna be a game container, right? And then I would like to have a game content, or I could say game board. Yeah, I would want to have like a game board. So I know that I've got my game because now I'm trying to build this class feel or class UI. So I'll have just two circles at the back, right? And then circle 1, right? I'll have those two circles there. And then what I would want to then start with is go to our CSS dot then let me rather just copy this and paste that there, right? Paste that there, and then I'll just say I set my width to 100% for our game container, and then our height, I want to set our height to 100 viewport, 100 view height, right? And then I just want to set that display to flex, and then justify content, so I have everything in the center, and then even the align items should be center. So now what I will then want to do is now create this board, right? So for the board I would want to then copy this game board, come right here and set its width to like 60%, right? And then its height to probably 70%, right? have a border radius, have a border, it's border radius to be 2 rem, right? So its border radius will be 2 rem, then its background will be linear gradient. So I want it to be from 2 right bottom, yeah, to right bottom, and then I'll set the RGBA right to 255, 255, 255, and then 0.8, right? And then that second color will also be the same thing, but now that's 0.3, right? And then yeah, now let's see what we have at the moment. So now we see that we've got this now box here, which is just going to be our board. So next thing we want to do is create our circles, right? So these circles are then going to go in the background of this what do you call this board. So we have like this slashish a component or board, should I rather say. So that's board, and then circle 1, right? That's that. So I'll set their width and height to just 10 rem, and then the height will also be set to 10 rem. Sorry for that. And then the border radius will be set to what should I say, 50 pixels, because I want it to be a circle. 50% I meant to say. And then background color, so the background color there should be a linear gradient, right? And I'll have the same thing, right? I just want to have the same thing for that, so I'll just paste that there. And then where did I go wrong? I think I needed to close that properly, right? And then now I've got those 2 circles, but now what I want to do is I want to position them to be absolute, right? And then yeah, what I want to do is set for height, what do you call this, for circle 1, I want it to be bottom, right? That should be 5%, right? And then the left should be like 10%, right? And then for the second one, the circle 2, it should be vice versa. So now it should be top 5%, and then the right is going to be 10%, right? 10%, 5%. So now we see that we've got that there. Now we're getting there with the slashes UI. So now what we want to do is then set our Z index of to yeah, so that we have that on top of that. And then we want to set this backdrop. I know we haven't started at the game, but yeah, we're getting there. We just need to so this is 0.9, and then that's going to be RAM, right? So where did I go wrong now? Oh yeah, so what I needed to do is just remove this guy here and put it here, so that the board is on top of those circles, right? So just, even if I can make it 2, and then just let's check how it looks. Yeah, let's just reduce that to 4ish. And then yeah, we got a lashes view for our board. So yeah, now let's go about like creating now what's going to be rendered, right? So what we want to do is first and foremost, we want to have a grid, right? That's gonna display our game. So in this board here, we want to go to this guy over here and have it to be, okay, let's start here. Let's rather start here. We would want to have a square, right? A square, and then we'd want to have multiple squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When I have 9 squares, then I'll just put in some text, dummy text in there. And then here we'd want to say its display should be a grid. We want to make it a grid, and then grid that will equal to grid template column. That should be repeated, and then 3 and 1 fr. Yes, and then yeah, that's it. Okay, that should do the trick. And then what I want to do is have a padding of like 15 pixels. 15 pixels should also do the trick. To have that in there, let me just increase it a bit, probably 18 pixels. Yeah, that's not quite bad. And then what I want to do is have our square, right? So with this square, what I would want to do with this square is have its width take up like 99% of the square, and its height, the height should be 99%. Okay, yeah. And then I would want to say the border, I want to have the border width to be 2 pixels. Yeah, and the border style to be solid. I know you can do this in one line, right? And then just have the border color to be white. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, now we've got a grid, right? Yes. Okay, things are working. So what we want to do at this moment is, okay, our grid is rendering properly. So what we would want to do now is go to our game component, right? So we'd want to create our board. So this is our board. So basically our board is what's going to contain what's going to be rendered on this board. Yeah, so we'll have this array for this board. So I want to make it an array of strings, because yeah, we'll be rendering strings. And then I would want to say this board equals to a new array, right, of size 9, because there should be 9 columns there, right? And then that should be an empty array, right? And then because we want to initialize every element of that array to be 0. So, and then what we'll want to do is have this guy, and then we'll want to have an ng4 I meant to say, and then have a let, then we want to have a square of this board, right? Squares coming up from this board, and then yeah, that's it. Then we'll have those, right, rendered. But now we want this guy to take out the square. Want this guy to render the square. Okay, yeah, so that's fine. And then what we would want to do is have a hover effect on this square, so that if they hover on it, then they see that the cursor should change to a pointer, right? And then after that's happened, we would want them to have the background to be the same as this, the same as that. Background color should be the same as that. And then what do you call this? The drop. Yeah, wanted to also have this drop effect. So this is on a hover. This is on a hover. right? And then drop effect is that. So now let's see. Yeah, so now we've got a hover effect, right? And then what we want to do at the moment is that when the user clicks on a certain, so when a user does a click, let's just say click, that should handle player. Or yeah, that should handle a player, right? And then we'd want to have let I equal to the index, because we want to keep track of that index. So that's I, right? Copy this method, come here, render it. Okay, yeah, place this method there, and then our index will equal to number, right? And then our board, this dot board, right, of index should equal to index. For now, I know why I'm doing this for this time being. Okay, this dot board of that index number equals to that index. Just plus that. Yeah, so reason being I'm doing that is so that I can, there's something I want to show you by me doing that, basically. So the color should be black. What am I doing now? Let me close that. So the color of this guy, now the color should be black. Let me just make it black. Yes. So what's happening? Nothing's happening. I think I need to save this guy. Yeah. So yeah, that seems to be working, right? So what I would want to do is then display this to flex, justify the content to center, and align those items to center. I would want to increase the font size, right, to probably 20 pixels. Nah, 10 RAM. Is that big enough? No, that's too big. 3 RAM. Yeah, I think that's fine. So reason why I'm rendering this for now is because I want to show you something. So for the game, for one to win the game, right, we need to have maybe X's on this, like on 3 rows, or horizontally or diagonally, right? So this is the reason why I placed this number, so I can explain the winning board. So the winning board works like this. If the same character is stored at the element 0, 1, and 2, that means that player has won. So if it's 0, 3, and 6, that player would win. And if they've got like their characters, or yeah, placed in that row, right, or horizontal axis. Yeah, a vertical, I meant to say. Yeah, if it's then 1, 4, and 7, then they would win. If it's 2, 5, and 8, then they would win. 0, 4, 8, they will win again. So now, since I've said that, let me now just try to do that in code. So the winning board should be a 2D array, right? So this will be a 2D array. This will be a 2D array storing 0, 1, 2. That's a single win, right? Another win will be 3, 4, and 5. That's another win, right? And then another win would be 6, 7, 8, right? And then now another win would be 0, 3, and 6. So another win would be 0, 3, and 6. And then another win would be 1, 4, and 7. Right? So 1, 4, 7 is another win. And then another one would be 2, 5, and 8. Right? So 2, 5, 8 is another win. Right? And then another one would be 2, 4, 6, because that's diagonal. So 2, 4, that's 2, that's 4, comma, and then that's 6. Right? Another one would be another diagonal, 0, 4, and 8. So that will be 0, 4, and 8. Right? So now we've got this winning board, right? So now we'll remove this line of code because we don't need this, basically. So what we want to do is say now this dot board, right? This dot board, the index, we want to set that index, but first of all, we want to have a player turn, right? So we want to have a player turn will now equal to x, right? So it starts off as x, right? Or you can set it to 0, right? And then we'd want to say the board equals to this player turn, right? So initially when they start, the player turn is x, right? And then what we would want to do is then change the player turn. So how we do that is by, what do they call it? Ternary something, right? If player turn equals to x, meaning if the current player turn is x, then what we would want to do is now change that player turn to 0, right? Or O, right? And then if that's false, then we'd want to change it back to x, right? So now you will see that when we now place our moves, we'll have an x and O, right? So we've got that covered now. So now we'd want to go for the last portion where now we want to determine who has won the game, right? So in order for us to do that, we need a for loop, right? I equals to 0, and then I is less than, that's winning. No. That's board. Yeah, that's for the board. Board dot length. I need to say this dot board dot length, right? And then that should be for that, and then I plus plus, right? And then let winning, this is the winning check, right? This is the winning check. And then with this winning check, it will store that single row that we're checking, right? So this will be right. So this will be that. No, what am I doing? Okay, winning board, and that's I, right? No, this should be winning board. This should be winning board, because it has to check for the length of that winning board, right? And go through each array in that winning board, because this is a 2D array, right? So now we'll have to say let p1 equals to, or we can just say check 1 equals to, right? And then winning board, this winning board, and then that's 0. No, winning check, not winning board. See these autocompletes. Yeah, winning board, right? And then let p2 equals to this winning check, and that's 1. And then that's let p3 equals to winning check, and then that's 2, right? So now we know that we're checking for 0, 1, and 2, right? So we are checking for those elements in that specific array, right? So what then we'll need to check is now an if check. So now an if check will now check first if from our board, right? Our board, if P1 is not equal to an empty string, right? The reason why we're saying if P1 is not equal to an empty string is because now if P1 is already an empty string, then you cannot win, right? So what happens is now we'll need to say P1 is equal, this dot board, right, at P1, if that's equal to this dot board P2. I needed to say and then that's equal to P2, and then and if P2 equals to this dot board P3, and then and now let me just put that on the next line, and let me put this guy as well on the next line so it's clear enough. So now if P1 is now equal to this dot board and P3, right? We needed an and here as well. So if that's the case, then we have a winner, because now if this is X and that's X, and if that's X and that's X, and if that's X and that's X, that means that's a winner, right? Meaning that if this is 0, 1, 2, if those three elements are X's, then it means that the player has won. Or if those elements are O's, that means that the player has won. So what we want to do is then have an alert here saying that player, and then what we'll do is say player turn, right? Then we'll want to say has won the game. Then I guess we are done. What did I do now? Okay, let me just remove that and see if that works. Okay, yeah, nothing broke. So now let's test the game. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Obviously. Oh yeah, so player X has won the game because now that's straight X's, right? So if it's 1 O, and then if X comes here and then O comes here, and if X comes here, then nah, it can't say player. That's player X. Let's see. No, it's player O has won the game, right? Player O has won the game. So what we'll want to do is, do we want to do that? Let me see. Because the player has changed. Okay, what we'll do is keep track. We'd wanna no. What we want to do is say the board. That's board. Because already we're done. If board won, yeah, that player has won the game. So tap, we'll just make X win. So player X has won the game. So if we restart the game again, and then if we say tap O, then player O has won the game. So what we can most then now do is have here display. So we can have an h3 tag here, right? And that h3 tag will say player turn, and then it will display this player turn, right? That will display the player turn, and what we want to do is then say h3 we want to say h3 is now an absolute, so its position can't be relative. Want to make you absolute, right? And then we would want to say top 10%. Nah, not 10%, just 4. 4%, right? That's fine. And then yeah, so now that will run that player X is playing now. Then now player O is playing. Then player X, player O would want to block that, and then player X would want to block him there. And then player O will play there. Player X played a dumb move, and player O has won the game. Right. So what we would want to do is that we would want to differentiate like the players moves, like the colors, right? The color schemes of the X and O. So we might have a set of rules stating that maybe player X is black and then player O is probably blue, right? So what we'd want to do in that instance is say okay, ng class, right? And then we want to say this guy, and then we want to say player O. So we want to make player O blue, right? So we'd say player O. So that's square. So if the square is equal to O, if that's equal to O, right? And then I need to have that there and that in that. Did I write square wrong? I think initially I wrote it. Okay, let's just copy that and place it there. So now what's the issue? Oh, yeah, I see. Need to remove that and remove that. So now that's fine. So now we'd want to come here and say player O, right? Player O. Then we'd want to change the color of player O to probably blue, right? So let's see, wait and see. Yeah, player O is now blue. If we'd wanna then, oh, sorry for that. We'd wanna probably then change player X to, nah. We could have a smart way of doing that. We can just set this color of that to red, right? So now player X will be red, and then player O will be blue. Player X, player O, player X. What? Why do I keep on playing? Yeah, I guess we are done with the game. You can then modify the game and state if ever you want to have a modal that's gonna pop up and say that you've won. And when the player then clicks OK after the alert has popped up and just reset the board, right? That will be on your take on how you wanna make the game even more and more fun. So that's just it for us. And thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.